Welcome to the OhSoSpurs podcast. Tottenham continue to look good on paper as we bobble along with another point in the Europa League. But there's more to it that we're the Champions League. Sorry,
Come on.
I was told by so many people that Tottenham would never play sides like Bodo if they were in the Champions League. That it's kind of like brainwashed me. It's funny that, and we've got Frankfurt coming up as well, don't we? But also, Bentancur signed a new deal.
Yep.
That's good. New leadership group. And then we've got the most cursed of all kickoff times, 12:30 on a Saturday. So we'll
right before
just
the
preview
international
the
break.
Leeds game. Right
Yeah,
before
we're good.
Oh,
We're good before the international break, aren't we?
there's double trouble there, isn't there? But we'll discuss that as well. But should we start in Norway? It wasn't freezing cold, horrible conditions, but it still was an AstroTurf pitch. Deej, you've been away a little bit longer, so I'll start with you. It looked like we were playing on an AstroTurf pitch, and it looked like we got the point. And I will, before I cover this, because it was a bit negative, I'm sorry. But we did get the point. We did have a comeback. That is very good. Really pleased with that. But we didn't progress the ball well. And that's just the reason I bring that up, Deej, is it's been a recurring theme most games this season. And it seems like something that we need to figure out if we want to maintain our position in the table, right? Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone who's watched our games can kind of conclude that our ball progression is something that is going to be an issue, and that hinges from the fact that we don't have an option for a player that can do progressive passing at the base of the midfield. We have players that are brilliant at other things, but I don't think either Bentancur nor Polina are necessarily the one you want creating like attacking play. And when you don't have Bentancur in the squad, or not Bentancur, sorry, when you don't have Romero in the squad who can make those incisive passes, you just have no one who can. And then we can't build up through the center at all. And you kind of saw that against Bodo, where we would play the ball around the back for a bit. Bentancur would receive the ball. He would kind of turn, but no one's there because Bergvall was playing so far forward. And Sar was playing kind of in the same level as him, or not showing for the ball. Then we just play to the side, hoof the ball long, and hope that one of our wingers can get it, or we hoof the ball up to Richarlison and hope that he can control it, which just totally isn't his game. So yeah, not super pleased by the way that we set up against Bodo. I was talking about this in the Discord that we have. If you want to join the Discord, there'll be a link in the description.
You should. It's very good. Nice group in there.
It is. It was nice. I was saying that one of my favorite Americanisms for American sports is that when a team starts playing not to lose is when they start, instead of playing to win, is when they start losing. Generally, I mean, that happens in like basketball or something. So it's kind of, it doesn't translate 1-to-1, I would say, to soccer, mostly because
you
the
nearly
goals.
said football there, I think, didn't you?
I did.
We nearly got you there. You nearly.
I say football usually.
And he saw the American flag in the corner of his eye and thought, "Not today."
Well, yeah. I was talking about an Americanism, so I figured I may as well use the American term.
Yeah.
Because scoring is so much more random and I guess less common in football than in like basketball or something. It doesn't translate 1-to-1, but I think the concept is still there, and I think you very much could see that we were playing not to lose against Bodo, and I don't think that worked out. And then we started actually attacking, and we had the ball in the back of the net 3 times. It's a shame that Mickey can't keep his hands to himself.
Yeah, and I would say that we were, in a way, unfortunate not to win because there was debatable. Actually, no, well, they did miss their penalty. They did miss their penalty too.
Did they?
It's probably, yeah.
And
still going over. It's landed in Tromsø, apparently, the ball. But so I'm trying to get my head around because the performance was like, that performance really frustrated me, and I don't know if it's have our expectations like around what a normal game of football with Tottenham's like. I feel like we got to the Pochettino pit and it stayed there, and obviously the football fell off, and we're still like, nah, the team that just batters everyone every week, that's the one I want. And when you have games where you do come back from 2-0 down to get a point, you still feel sometimes like, but the performance itself could have been better. Anyway, what do you kind of make of the Bodo game and
Without a
general.
doubt, and I echo everything that Deej was talking about, and maybe just another thing that I think I noticed 3 or 4 times was we were knocking it around at the back and trying to bring Bodo onto us, right? And what's the point of doing that? The point is to invite the press so you can play through the press and then counter-attack, right? That's the whole point of playing like that. And we did it I think 3 or 4 times where the press came on and we broke the press. It went to Porro, and then he just didn't seem to know what to do with it. And instead of breaking forwards because no one was with him, he was forced to then turn and just come back and then play it and recycle it across the back 4 again. And it's like, well, if you're going to do that, then what's the point in even drawing it on? I mean, it just seemed that there were times, and it was decision-making on the pitch that in those points, I think that was poor. I think there's times where they were full on coming at us, and if as and when we broke that press, or as and when we turned the ball over, we could have broken a lot quicker. And we sort of chose not to, and we stopped in sort of like the middle third, came back, recycled, they reset. Here we go again. And it was like, to DJ's point, there was no way that we were progressing the ball through the middle of the park, and we were hitting the wings and hoping for something there. In the last 20 minutes, when we started running at them and they were a little bit tired, I think, we started to make some inroads up the wings. Up until then, it was just slow. It was pedestrian. It was a tough watch.
I mean, I can tell you why we started making inroads on the wings, and it's because we brought on our best player by like a comfortable amount, I think, so far this season. I think just watching the way that I genuinely think that our attack is tailor-made for a player like Mohamed Kudus, where he has the body strength to win like aerial duels, to bring the ball down. He has this ability to like kind of almost never lose the ball upon like if he like wins like a ball out of the air. He's really good at keeping it to feet and then recycling the ball. He definitely still holds onto the ball too long. But I think overall, like you can just tell how much more dangerous we are when we have Kudus on the pitch than when we don't, because he provides the only he's the only one for which that kind of like long ball over the top to like the defender and the winger that works for, I think.
Yeah, and then what happens is the left back starts backing off a bit because he's so worried about Kudus getting the ball and going past him. They start dropping a little bit deeper, which opens up a bit more room in the midfield. And we started knocking it around quite nicely when there was a little bit more space in the midfield in the last 15, 20 minutes. And it's just so frustrating when you can see, just from watching it on the TV, and I'm sure that people in the ground could absolutely see, if we just applied a little bit more pressure to their fullbacks, then that would have opened up so much more space earlier on. So it was just really frustrating.
It really does.
And the fact that we only seemed to take half our allocation there. The away end seemed empty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just feels all a bit like we've gotten used to things being better for a brief period of time, where everything's purring, everything's flying. You're in the Champions League, you're winning all your home games.
Is there something about this league phase though? Because we got the draw there, but if we'd have got a draw in a league phase, that's really good because you've taken 2 points off of them at home. You've then maybe got 3 points at home. You can get 4 points off of one opponent. Now that game's done. Yeah, it keeps there's not as many dead rubbers at the end, but it just feels like the games aren't as important as they were in the league phase. I don't know. It just feels that way.
It feels like it's going to be more consistently interesting, but the start is far less interesting in the group.
Yeah, I think it's maybe more interesting for the neutrals, and this is the point.
Yeah,
I think it gets far more interesting, I think, in the end than it was in the beginning. Like I don't know I think it was last year that PSG were like the last team to qualify.
That's true.
Yeah, and they won the whole thing.
To go on.
So I think because like before, it's like as you play more games, like you basically play yourself out of the possibility of not being first or second in the group.
Yeah.
And
it just feels like it's difficult to understand how important these games are right now.
Yeah, I mean,
4 points from 2 games is good. Don't get me wrong. You got to be a home win and an away draw.
Yeah,
you'd take that in a group stage, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But I just think that it'll get I think that in the old format, the early games were more interesting because there were a lot of dead rubbers, and I don't think we'll be basically any of those for this.
Well, that's enough about Norway for now. We'll go back to the domestic competition of the Premier League. But also, just before we get to the Leeds game, there's been some announcements. Bentancur signs a new deal. They don't tell you how long these days. They just say long term, which you'd assume would be a minimum of 4 years plus one with an option. You'd assume, I think, with long term, with my guess. And also a new leadership group, of which Bentancur is not a part of. So we'll start with the contract. No brainer, right, guys?
I think so. I mean, I like him as a player. I think there's a real player in there somewhere. I think you've got to find where he fits in that midfield to unlock that potential, because I think he's lovely on the ball. But it's just finding how you get the best out of him. I do like him.
Yeah, it's just DJ. I don't know about you. Though with him, I'm pleasantly surprised he signed it. I just thought you don't get to a stage of a player like him, who's been quite important for us, having 9 months left, without them probably, they must have been offered a contract already, is what I'm saying. It's taken a bit longer. Yeah. They were negotiating for something, obviously. But I still feel with him, with that confirmation he's staying, it's interesting now, though, isn't it? Because we still lack a midfielder of a certain type. That Bentancur is not. And that doesn't mean Bentancur's a bad player. He's a great player at what he does. Palania is not great at what he does, but he's not the deep line playmaker. So we're not going to get rid of Sarr. He's a great, important player for this team. You're not going to get rid of Bergvall. Getting a lot of midfielders in here. How are we going to fit this new person in when they come in?
Well, I don't know. It depends on if they come in. Like to an extent, it kind of feels like I've been complaining about the build-up, but to an extent, it's not like we're trying to build up through the middle and failing. It's that we are completely abdicating the middle of the pitch a lot of the time. So maybe the goal is just to never build up through the middle of the field, in which case you don't need a progressive passer as the 6, because you can just kind of hoof it long to the winger and hope for the best. Kudus and pray, like that's kind of what it seems like our progressive strategy is at the moment. And if that's the way that we want to play, then we don't need the guy who can ping a pass to the middle of the field, because no one will be in the middle of the pitch anyway. I don't know. It's interesting. I do think that if we had a progressive passer as a 6, I think that would unlock Bentancur's game in a way that we haven't really seen, because I don't think he's a progressive passer, and I don't think we can play him with a deep line progressive passer because we don't have that. So we kind of force him to try to be that, because he's the closest thing I think he's the closest thing we have to a progressive 6. So when we play him in that role, he does, I believe, have the most progressive passes per 90 of any player that's got over like the requisite number of minutes to not be messed with by sample size. And I think that he would be much better playing next to like a player who could release the ball forwards. But
I think, yeah, I'd be amazed if we're gonna just be like, right, tactics, we don't need to pass the ball through the midfield. We'll just rely on the flanks and hope Kudus doesn't get injured. I think there's got to be a plan, surely. I just feel like at the moment we're setting up in a way that's like, okay, with the tools we've got, this is probably the most sensible way to play. It's just be good defensively, good of set pieces. Don't try pass through and lose possession when you don't have the players to do it. You've got good wide player there in Kudus that we need to utilise as much as possible. We don't have a left winger on the other side who's a standout level where we can do the same thing. But we've got a big lump up front and Richie as well, who's strong, physical, and will outwork people. We know we've got Solanke to come back and Ioane to get fit as well. Maybe when those guys are fit, those more options open up. But for now, I think Frank's just be hard to beat, stay around the top, keep going, get to January, don't go out of any competitions stupidly, and continue to build from there, because it's going to take a while until I think he has all the players he wants. But new leadership group, guys. We've got Romero, Vicario, Ben Davies, interestingly there. Mickey, actually not really interestingly, but just because he hasn't played much this season. Mickey van der Ven and James Maddison. Any surprises there, guys? Or as expected? I think some people said they were surprised Bentancur wasn't in there. But any changes for you on that?
I don't know if you can put Bentancur in the leadership group, to be honest, unfortunately, based on
after his
previous forays into the news that he has been a part of. But no, I think that this is pretty much what I would have guessed, unless you think that the leadership group should be people who are playing every week, in which case you'd be a little surprised by Ben Davies. But everything we hear about Ben Davies is that he's like the model professional, and
the statesman.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone wants their son to grow up to be like Ben Davies, so of course you put him on the leadership group. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much who I would have guessed. We have a really young squad. We don't really have like a whole lot of options, I guess. But yeah, I think these are the ones that I would have assumed would be a part of the leadership group.
I'm surprised and not surprised about Matters. I think Van der Ven's, if we keep him another 3 years, I think he's probably a future captain of Tottenham. But
I think he showed that in just a few games this season. He's growing into that leadership role for sure.
Yeah. But Matters was kind of surprising, kind of not. He's got a personality that you expect to be a popular personality. But I guess I don't know why. I don't know why I was kind of feeling like maybe he wasn't an actual leader. Maybe he is. Who knows? We don't know these people. Fly on the wall. They're probably completely different to what we perceive them as when we see them playing football. Anyway, so yeah. But Leeds, guys, quickly finish off that. It's a horrendous time to be playing. It's before the international break. It's 12:30 and it's on a Saturday. Everything says. Equally, those are curses. One of them's a curse for Leeds too. No one likes a 12:30 on a Saturday. On either side, I guess the bad thing for us is we're travelling away. It means quite an early start, probably. You've got to be at the ground for 10:30, don't you? So
I'm going to be up at 4:30.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll stay overnight the night before. But it's all a bit just disruptive, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a game of small margins side. But so you're not feeling confident because of that, or are you actually thinking, you know what? Come on.
I mean, on the other side, maybe I don't think Leeds are the sort of team that's going to sit back in a low block at home at Elland Road, which will probably play to us to a certain extent. But Elland Road's a place that's difficult to go to. They're unbeaten in God knows how many games there. 20-something games, I think they're unbeaten at Elland Road. Fair enough, some of those are in the Championship and not the Premier League, but it's still not an easy place to go. It's going to be a tough game. But you're right, some of those hoodoos, we've got to do something before an international break at some point, surely. Horrendous. So let's just say, let's do the hoodoo of Saturday lunchtime and international break. And we'll sneak a win.
You'll sneak a win. We're going to sneak a win by what? A goal? 2 goals?
2-1.
2-1 to Spurs. Deej.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how we play out and how we play in this game because I think that we are like the better team on paper, but I think we've been the better team on paper for the last few games. I don't think we've necessarily shown that based on the way that we've played. So if we set up similar to the way we set up against Bodo, I think we'll get a 1-1 draw. I think we need to be less risk averse, and I want to talk about risk aversion a little bit because I do think that's part of the reason that Simons is getting a bit of stick at the moment is that he's making mistakes. Obviously, he made a really really terrible pass that almost led to a goal right before they did actually just kind of score that in the Bodo game. And he had a couple of other passes that didn't come off. But I think it stands out more in this team because no one else on this team except for Kudus wants to try to do anything that could be seen as a mistake. And Kudus doesn't make mistakes before he makes enough good things. You can say, he tried to beat the third guy, beat the first two, whatever. But I think that because Simons is trying these like these things that might not come off, when they don't, it like stands out a little bit more than it would if you had a bunch, like if you were like more used to this team like trying the incisive pass and it not coming off 100% of the time. So I think that he's one that we'll need to give a little bit of grace towards because as the 10, like that's your job. Your job is to try stuff. If to unpick that lock is like the phrase I like to use.
You've got to give them freedom. They're the expressive role, aren't they, in the team?
Yeah. The opposition, every team in the world is so good these days that no one's gonna let you score. Like no one's gonna like say, oh, you can do this like really well drilled thing where you have to take no risk and you're just gonna score. If someone figured out how to do that, then they would be paid a lot of money to like win every game. Because if you can figure out how to score without taking any risk, then like it's the perfect game plan. So obviously you need to take risks and. He, in my opinion, is one of, I think, 2 players on the pitch that takes them. It's just not coming off for him at the moment. But when they do, it'll be well worth it. Anyway, back to the game. I think that if we do set up in a bit more of a risk-taking fashion, I think we will probably. I'll say 2. I like 2-1. That feels like a good scoreline, but because I don't want to guess the same thing, I'll say 2-0. Just because I think that we do have a pretty solid defensive record. And even though we conceded 2 against Bodo, I think at least the second goal was just unreal. Like at some point, you just have to say fair play. That guy, Jens Peter Hauge, is just a really good footballer.
Well, there you go. 2-0 and 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur in the game on Saturday at 12:30. News injury-wise, by the way, Ioane and Solanke are still out. Romero is back. So, yeah, it's the biggest dead leg in history that Ioane's
Looks like
has been nurturing it.
I actually looked at like how long you can be out for a dead leg because I was like, is he just like not playing? And apparently those things are way worse than I thought.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
It's like
like
muscle trauma.
like in America, we in football we were just talking about something similar. Like there's this thing called turf toe, which sounds like super innocuous, but it's basically like tearing like the kind of the ACL in your toe. So like you can't like walk basically. And I think that dead leg and turf toe are two of like the injuries that have like the biggest like difference between like how bad they sound. Dead leg sounds bad, but I guess when I hear it, it's like, it's a dead leg, it's fine.
We used to give each other dead legs at school for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Gary Lineker's career ended because of a broken toe. Like, these things sound menial, but they're not, especially when your feet and your legs are quite important in football. Yeah, that's my hot take.
Yeah.
Right, up the Spurs, everyone.
What's your prediction?
What's your prediction, Jim?
I get to get away with
it. You can't get away with that.
I'm going to go for 1-0 Tottenham. 1-0 Tottenham.
1-0 Spurs.
I know my head says 1-1. My heart says 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 to 1/2.
Not on you Saturday lunchtime Spurs.
Come on, you Saturday lunchtime Spurs.
Come on,
National break Spurs. Don't let us down.